Hi everyone, I'm Frida and I'm back with another video. In this video I'm going to make this cloisonné enamel decoration for a little tin box. Before we get started, I would like to say thanks to my patrons for the support. Since I had the copper disc pre-cut already, I started with texturizing the surface. This step is optional. I did it because I was hoping that the textured surface is going to show through the transparent enamels at the end. I also domed it to prevent warping. At this point, the copper is ready for enameling. I'm starting with the back. Here you see me sifting the clear fuse on the back. I fired and pickled it off camera and now I'm firing the front. Of course I sifted the enamel on the front before the firing. I grabbed my drawing and here I started to fold the cloisonné wires along the lines of the design. I've chosen for this project Totoro. Totoro is a cute character from the cartoon My Neighbor Totoro. It is a work of Miyazaki, who is a Japanese animator, filmmaker and manga artist. I've made these cloisonné wires myself. They're made out of copper. I decided to use copper for this project because the little box I made this for, it's a tin box and it's a really cheap box, so I wouldn't want to use fine silver for that. I haven't used copper cloisonné wires in a project for a long time, so I was really excited about this. It's also a little bit bigger than a normal jewelry piece I would make, so I could add more details. I'm forming these wires with small pliers and a tweezer. I don't enamel my wires, I like them a little bit harder. It's easier to make nicer curves this way. Cloisonné is a French word and it means the little cells between the wires. When we apply the colors, these cells are going to separate them. I use glue to hold the wires in place until the next firing. I fired it with my torch off camera. During the firing, the base coat melts and these cloisonné wires going to get stuck in it. This is how it looks after the firing. You can tell that the wires developed oxides. We need to pickle the piece after every firing to remove the oxides. After pickling, I rinsed it and the piece was ready for the first layer of colored enamel. This process also called wet packing. I'm using a paintbrush and a scraper for this. We apply these enamels wet, they don't dissolve in water though. The consistency of them remind me of wet sand. Until you watch me doing this, I tell you about the story a little bit. The story of My Neighbor Totoro follows two young sisters as they settle into an old country house with their father and wait for their mother to recover from an illness in an area hospital. As the sisters explore their new home, they encounter and befriend playful spirits in their house and the nearby forest, most notably the massive cuddly creature known as Totoro. Let me know guys if you've seen this cartoon and if you like it. My daughter is a big fan of Miyazaki's work, so I've seen it a couple times. I'm almost done with the colors here, and I usually don't like to mix transparent colors with opaque colors, but sometimes I like to add a little bit of white where I really want the white to pop, like in the eyes or the spots of the mushrooms. When I was done with the colors, I waited the piece to dry and I fired it with my torch. You really have to make sure that the enamel is very dry before firing, because otherwise you can ruin hours and hours of work. Torch firing is actually really fun. I love to see how the enamel melts front of my eyes. If you work with copper, you can be brave here. The copper is not likely going to melt. If you watch my videos, you probably know that enamel always shrinks during firing, so we have to repeat the wet packing process a few more times. That's what I'm doing here, and I applied one more extra layer off camera. I fired it off camera also, and only one step remained of this process, and that's the sanding. With this step, we make the surface smooth and we remove the excess enamel from the wires. I'm using diamond pads and water. When I was happy with it, I dried the piece and fired it again. We need to do this last firing because, as you can tell, the enamel lost its shine during the sanding process, so with this firing we're going to get the shine back. And it was done! I glued it on the lid of the box and I'm really happy how it turned out. If you like this video and my work, please consider supporting me on Patreon or buy me a cup of coffee. The links are going to be in the description. You can also show your support by subscribing to my channel, liking, sharing and commenting on my videos. So this is it for today, and I also would like to wish you a Happy New Year and see you in the next one. Bye!